Good afternoon and welcome along to the Players' Championship Finals live from Minehead. The culmination of all of the Players' Championship events throughout the year of 2023. The top players battling it out for the big prize. Ian Diamond White wants a top seed for this tournament. Times have changed for him, but a chance to revive his career, rejuvenate himself, opening the action on your Board 2 coverage today on the stage in the iconic Reds bar here at the Butlins Resort in Minehead. Players' Championship event which has had 7 different winners over the years, and one of them is sat alongside me. I'm Chris Murphy. I'm joined for all 9 matches this afternoon by the 2010 champion Paul Nicholson. Good afternoon, Paul.
A very good afternoon, Murph, and good afternoon to everybody.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. First leg, it's Ian to throw first. Game on.
Charlie Kostafine is your referee here this afternoon for this first game, and a difficult spot for these two, Murph, because being first on, it is best of 11 legs in the first 2 rounds.
58.
They will be hoping to make it through to tomorrow. That is today's mission. But coming into this game,
81.
pretty hard to call, but you'd have to fancy Szaganski based on what he's done this year.
Absolutely. He's won a Pro Tour this year. Ian White hasn't done that. A man who wins Pro Tours every year, but
60.
not of late. Ian White hasn't found that kind of form. He though does boast 2 victories against
60.
Radek Szaganski. One of them did come this year. The other came 10 years earlier in Killarney, where Radek Szaganski actually hails from Ireland. Polish, of course, by birth, but lives over there, drives his bus.
121.
And we'll be hoping for a busload of maximums, high scores, big checkouts. And yeah, it would be disappointing, Paul, wouldn't
100.
it, to win a Pro Tour and then lose your tour card that very same season?
Keegan Brown knows all about that. It happened last year after he was defeated by Florian Hempel at the World Championship. But Szaganski is in the 2nd year of his current tour card status. He is currently projected,
13.
with no further ranking money for the rest of the season, to be 67th. He must be inside that top 64.
140.
If he is, he will be on tour next year, guaranteed, without having to go to qualifying school in January. But win a game here, and he is in the World Championship, just like Ian.
100.
So
Running
win games over the next few
120.
weeks, you're going to be fine.
Well, he's left himself 120 in this opening leg. Not going to take it out, so White gets to go
Ian
at 149. A big ask. This is only to hang on to his throat.
Good start. Not a brilliant finish, but a decent try. And Szaganski will come back for double 16 to take this first leg here at Reds Bar on Friday.
Seemed to rush into it. He was throwing the dart as he actually towed the hockey there, but he does land double 8 in the end. And Radek Szaganski gets an immediate break of throw in this opening match on stage 2 against Ian White.
Yeah, just one more thing on that tour card status for Radek. He's currently
100.
something around £7,000 outside the top 64 in the world. If he wins one game at the World Championship, that's an extra £7,500. Just winning one game at the Worlds could well be enough. If he wants to get it done before he goes to London, he's going to have to win a few games here. But Ian White
40.
is number 60 in the world. That might surprise a lot of people, and that means that he's not 100% safe at this time.
139.
Well, there's a mere hors d'oeuvre to a menu of tasty tungsten tussles this afternoon. And just to give you an indication of what follows, Luke Woodhouse against Simon Whitlock, followed by Ryan Joyce, another Players' Championship winner this year. He takes on Daniel Closer, of course, who wrote his own story in Players' Championship
92.
darts in 2023. Mike De Decker against Mario van den Behaarde in an all-Belgian affair. Ricardo Petresco, winner of a Euro Tour, against a former Lakeside champion in Christian Kiss. Stephen Bunting, of course, great form of late. He takes on Mickey Mansell, Gabriel Clements, Connor Scott, Dimitri Vandenberg against Jim Williams, and then Johnny Clayton closing the afternoon's action against Stephen Burton.
140.
74 for Ian White 74. To equalise early in this match. Can't afford to let Szaganski get away from him. Lovely single. And a lovely tops for 1-1. He has been averaging pretty well this year, has Ian White. Just shy of 94.5. 26 on the averages list this year. And you would expect him to maybe have more in the way of results with numbers like that. But sometimes numbers can lie.
Yep, super response from Ian White. 15 darter against a throw to level up and get the game back with the darts.
81.
Szaganski flying that Polish flag, of course, following in the footsteps of the great Pole Krzysztof Ratajski, who's won multiple tournaments.
85.
He's in double figures. But it's a part of the world where darts has really exploded in the last couple of years. We saw the World Series event there. That was very, very well
100.
received.
I think it's a nice mix with Radek as well, that Ireland is definitely doing things with darts with the youngsters, but I think he's been inspired by how Poland has embraced PDC darts over the last
58.
few years. So he's doubly inspired, you could say.
Yeah, and there are a few youngsters coming through as well. One who's done
100.
really good work on this very stage before, though not in this tournament. Of course, it's shared. It's the shared home of both the Players' Championship Finals and the UK Open, and I'm thinking of Sebastian Białecki, who, of course, had a fabulous 9 darter here.
48.
Szaganski's in control of this leg.
Yeah, whoever hasn't held the darts has controlled the legs so far.
81.
That's a really wicked deflection with dart 3. He was hoping to leave 120, but now he's susceptible because White could be tapping him on the shoulder any moment now.
Well, interesting use of the bullseye second dart there, which gives him options. It's quite a clever ploy and one that we're seeing more often these days. It gives him a chance on the 120.
59. Ian, you require 120.
He can get past that one. Just a little scooch to his right-hand side. That is so good. People at Reds Bar agree.
100.
But not so much with dart number 3, as Radek looks for 2-1.
Yeah, same equation, but without the need for a treble. Tops.
60.
Just throwing a little flat at the moment, Szaganski.
Could be a hold of throw here. Got to give it a go, Ian.
10.
Considering his talent and his ability,
20.
he will hit all 3 of those. He's going to hit that one as well, because it is another break of throw, this time for Radek. And if he finds the first hold of throw of this match, he will be out of sight for a period of time,
60. Potentially.
Well, mark down leg 3 in red pen, because Ian White squandered 4 darts at double there.
83.
To hold on to his throw, and then the 4th dart that Szaganski had at double. It was hit, the leg was won, and now he's got the opportunity 100. To open up a little bit of breathing space, room to manoeuvre.
This is one of those tournaments, isn't it, Murph, where you can get some interesting draws. And I look at a game like Michael 60. Van Gerwen versus Callan Rids, and Van Gerwen is the lower seed in that game because of people managing schedules and maybe 100. Not playing as many Players' Championships as they have in previous years. You might be surprised to see that Szaganski is the higher seed in this game.
Yeah, we wonder the direction of the career of certain players. Never want to predict anything because we've seen many start to slide and then bounce back. But you do worry for Ian White.
100.
Showed a mini resurgence, didn't he, the latter part of last year, but hasn't turned into a sustained period of improvement or restoration, as it would be in his case.
95. Radek, you require 141.
What he's going through at the moment is very tough. Trying to maybe be the player that he was.
89.
Fighting against the player that he is right now.
126.
Well, let's see which Ian White turns up in this visit. That's what he wants right now. Another. That's okay. It leaves him the bullseye.
87.
But that tells its own story. The reaction there, a long way away.
Game shot on the fourth
Szaganski
leg.
does not need asking twice this time.
Fifth
It's
leg,
3-1 to the
throw
poll.
first.
It is
Game
going
on.
with the form book based on the Players' Championship rankings from 2023 because that's the only way you can get in this tournament. At the start of this tournament's history, it was 32 players.
95.
Nowadays, 64 with the extended field. And we did have our field confirmed and the fixtures
57.
confirmed until recently. But unfortunately, Danny Noppert withdrew. The number 9 seed for this tournament is still in the Netherlands, awaiting the birth of his second child. And that's fortunate for Dylan Slevin because he was given a game against Matt Campbell as a replacement.
23.
Yeah, straight into that seeding position. Slevin, so a nice little opportunity for him. The top seed for this tournament
97.
is Gerwyn Price. He'll take on Ricky Evans tonight on the main stage. Some interesting seedings, as Paul was sort of alluding to there, because, you know, a lot of the top players don't play in all of the Players' Championship events. So we'll have the situation, for example, where Michael van Gerwen is
96.
the lower seed in his opening round match when he plays Callan Ridge later. Seeded number 40, Van Gerwen, for this event.
60.
Kind of typical for Ridge, though, isn't it? He's won a tournament this year. He's got a higher seeding and he bumps into MVG. One of those things.
One of the stories for me on the Players' Championship circuit this year is
96.
the fact that a certain Gary Anderson has ended up number 2 seed.
Which means, based on seedings, he should be in the
60.
final.
Against Gerwyn Price. Fancy that, anybody?
I don't think you'll catch many people saying, no, actually, I fancy something else.
58.
Well, right now, Ian White's continuing this battle, not only against Szaganski, but against himself, seemingly.
I don't like that last start from Ian.
100.
That's not a new school counting way of doing things. Because from 152, he's hitting 19 to leave a really tricky out. Had he been inside 130 or on 130 there, by use of other parts of the board, he might have given himself an easier chance. Especially when you consider Szaganski is on 127. And game.
A brilliant bullseye bedded by Szaganski for a 4-1 lead, and Ian White now is in a whole heap of trouble. That the standout moment of the match, but in truth, Paul Nicholson, he's not having to play that well here to dominate Ian White. Average is only in the low 80s. Yeah, that was a really magical
81.
moment for the pole. It was a lovely finish, but only an 18 dart leg, and those 6 visit legs are enough
60.
to get the better of White at the moment.
I think this tournament, every single year, tests people of this ilk because they may not have played a ranking match for about 3 weeks.
95.
And it tests the people who might not have done the kind of preparation that they should. You might think it's odd for me to say that, but there have been players that I've heard recently who have said to themselves, I need to do more. Even Michael Smith said that before the Grand Slam. So games like this will prove just how ready they are.
140.
Well, that 127, an iconic number for a former professional referee in Paul Hinks, called out by a current one and a future one in Charlie
100.
Korstefin on a weekend where it was announced that one of the greats, the iconic Russ Bray, will be hanging up his microphone at the end of the World Championship.
95. Radek, you require 120.
Perfect place to go out, really, isn't it, Ollie Pally? It was the same for our late great friend Bruce Spendley.
100.
That could have been 5-1
Ian, you
to
require
Szaganski.
90.
White has got to find this 90, otherwise the exit door might have his name on it.
Well, that's the double he needs, and
Game
that's the
shot
double
for
he
seventh
gets.
leg. Ian White.
It just shows there's still life in the old dog.
Seventh leg, it's Ian to throw
It's a
first.
dangerous
Game
game,
on.
double 15 with 2 darts remaining. But he attacked it, and he found it. And crucially, that was a break of throat.
Just because you've won tournaments in the past
83.
and you've had runs in venues in the past, it doesn't mean that when you come back here that you will get the same kind of success. Look at someone like Robert Thornton, who was in the very first
100.
final of the Players' Championship finals back in 2009, defeated by Phil Taylor. He's not been at this tournament for a period of 3
40.
years now.
Yeah, interesting though, has been winning on that very stage at the Circus Tavern in the last couple of years.
Yeah, somewhat strange.
100.
Where you won your Players' Championship title, of course. This has become its home in the end, but the Circus Tavern and the Doncaster
83.
Dome preceded Minehead.
We did have a year at Coventry when we were playing behind closed doors. So 4 venues this tournament has had this one,
140.
but predominantly it has been Minehead.
We will keep you up to date for those of you who have chosen to stick with our coverage here on PDC TV of what's happening on the main stage.
140.
And I can tell you
Radek
Ross
require
Smith is beating Scott
161.
Williams 4-2, and he's averaging a healthy 102 in the process.
65.
No surprise on my face
Ian, you require
from the player that has hit more
155.
180s in Players' Championships this year than anybody. Ross Smith with over 300.
Well, in this one,
100.
this may be the moment. If
Radek
Szaganski can
required
clean this up, we'll have the
96.
darts to win the match. 6-2. Has he found it? He has,
80.
but he hasn't found the double.
Ian, you require 55.
This for a hold. Get this. Break him next. That's the plan.
35.
Can't hold. At least
Radek, you require
not at that
16.
visit. But he might not get another opportunity.
Can work off that.
Game shot
Flicked
seventh
in,
leg.
off the flight.
Radek Szaganski.
And the pole, who's on the precipice
Eighth
of
leg, it's
victory in
Radek
the
to
opening
throw
match.
first.
5-2, he
Game
leads
on.
Ian White, who now has to win the 4 remaining legs.
Tell you what, Murph, if he drives a
99.
bus the way he plays darts, he'll always get to work on time. I'm sure there are darts fans in the region where he drives his bus saying, aren't you that fella that won that Players' Championship
32.
event against Connor Scott? And when we arrived in the arena this morning, it was very odd because there were 2 players having their allotted time on stage,
59.
and it was Szaganski and Connor Scott. And I somewhat made a flippant remark towards Connor, and I said, what, do you just practice with people who've played in Players' Championship finals now?
85.
Well, you can see Ian White is starting to get frustrated. It must be difficult, Paul. I'm sure you've got experience of it. I apologise for bringing it up, but to
134.
play in an early match and lose and not even feel you were really there in the
Yeah.
tournament.
You'd much rather be involved a little bit later in the afternoon or even the evening session, but the first game of the tournament, if you're the first person out,
58.
it's a very cold, lonely walk, and you could even be back home before the evening session starts.
60.
Well, he's been a well-oiled machine so far, Szaganski. Just doing enough.
100.
Steady, if not spectacular,
Radek,
but
you
for that
require
flashpoint of the
149.
127 finish in leg 5. Oh, almost the flashy finish
133.
to finish the match.
And don't forget, Murph, as well, a win here for Szaganski will give him an extra £3,500 in ranking money, which would inch him closer
85.
towards the top
Radek,
64
you
in the world.
require 60.
Can he inch closer? Well, he can't inch much closer than that.
No
Wow, all on the wire.
score. Ian, you require 141.
Got to go for the end zone now from about 60 yards out. And this pass is not going to be completed, which means Poland's
59.
Szaganski can once again
Radek requires 16.
make his way to round 2 with double 8.
Well, that's now 5 darts missed for this match. Make that 6. They're all so close.
Game,
And that one
shots,
is
and
in.
the match.
And it's the end of the road for Ian White before he's even set off. And Radek Szaganski, a winner on the Players' Championship Tour in 2023, is a winner at the Players' Championship Finals. He takes victory in the opening match here on stage 2. Szaganski defeating Ian White will go through to take on either Martin Lukeman or Luke Humphries. That could be an ominous challenge for Radek Szaganski. He will return in a few moments' time with Luke Woodhouse facing Simon Whitlock.